Hey, it's Jason from Pro Guitar Studio, and today we're going to take a look at a really cool exercise that will focus on 3 distinct skill sets. Okay, so the first thing we're doing here is we're working on a drone tone, which is a repeated low note. In this case here, the low E note that happens before each note that we're going to play. Okay, so the whole point here is that we have this continuous note playing in the background. The great thing about that is you don't need accompaniment. You can play by yourself. So I remember years ago reading in a magazine, I think it was a Joe Satriani interview, in this article in the Guitar World, and he was talking about working on scales and how he just droned the low E note for every single scale he worked on. Really cool thing to do. And so that's one thing we're going to work on today, trying to get that drone in there. Now, I'm going to work on some notes that are from the E Phrygian scale. Now, if you don't know the E Phrygian scale, don't worry, you don't have to run out and learn it. But the sound of the E Phrygian scale is quite minor in nature. It is definitely one of the darkest minor scales you can play with. And so the sound of the Phrygian scale sounds like this. So it's very dark and just one note different from the natural minor scale. So we're going to add in a flat 9 instead of a natural 9th. And all that means is that we have a very dark sounding minor scale. So some notes might sound off or dissonant, and that's the whole point here. Okay. So we're doing that. We're also going to work on string skipping. So if you're using your pick, we're going to work on picking between string 6 and all the other string sets, which is pretty cool. So as you go through this exercise, towards the end, it gets harder and harder because we need to stretch from string 6 to string number 1. If you can't do that, you can use your fingers, okay? So we can use our thumb, our middle, thumb or index, whatever works for you. And in this case here, we went like string number 5. It's much easier to go string 6 to string 1 with your fingers. But I'll demonstrate with a pick, and then I'll show you how to do it with your fingers as well, okay? All right, to start off in this piece, we're going to play a G note, which is fret number 10 on the A string, okay? So we're going to pick down on the low E and up on the A. Now, I prefer alternate picking with the down pick on the downbeat in this case here. So this is not the most efficient picking. We're doing outside picking, but I prefer this. My hands are big too, so it's easier for me to sort of stretch out and do this. But if you need to do up, down as your pattern, go for it, okay? So we're gonna go down on string 6, up on string 5, and we're gonna do that 8 times. Then we're going to fret number 14 on the A string, which is the B note, okay? Another note in the E minor chord. We're going to the A note, which is a bit dissonant here. We have the low E and then the A, 12th fret, string number 5. And then the 15th fret, which is a C note. Again, this is very dissonant. Interval-wise, we'll call this a flat 6. So that part will repeat 2 times in a row. Now we're going to jump down after that to the D string. So 14th fret on the D string, which is our root note, E again. Okay, so we're going to play low E to the next E here, which is 2 octaves higher. And this is 14th fret, string number 4, or the D string. Okay, 8 times. Then we're going to play 15, which is the F note on the D string, and that's our flat 9. That's the Phrygian note, right? So the distinct note from the E Phrygian scale. 4 times. And then we're going to play the G note 4 times. So 12th fret, string number 3. You hear how dissonant this is. So intentionally, I'm adding tension, okay? There we go. Now, next time around, so we're repeating that part, but the ending just a slight bit different. We go 8 times, go into the F note, the G note twice, and then I go to the A note. Now I do a hammer-on, so we do that twice. You can just play the A note twice if you want, which is fret number 14 on the G string. Okay, so we do this the second time. And again, I'm picking down and up, so I'm stretching my hand out as I go through. It gets harder and harder, right? So like I said, if you need to use your fingers, even just the thumb and index back and forth can be easier to maneuver. Right, now the next thing we're doing is the B note, which is fret number 12 on the B string. A times, C, which is fret number 13 on the B string, and then the D note, which is fret number 15, and those are both 4 times. And then back to our B note. Then we're going to go to our high E, which is a 12th fret string number 1. We're going to play this 12 times, and then the 13th time we just bring out the low E. All right, so with the pick, like I said, it's a little bit challenging because we need to actually do alternate picking, whether it's down, up, or up, down. And I find outside picking is much easier just to be accurate and be able to go through those string sets. And so in the end, we get to practice all the string sets here. So even if you just want to isolate each little part of this as an exercise for yourself, that's cool too. But towards the end, like I said, it can be a little challenging. So if you want to use your fingers for this, and that's more of the style of playing that you do, we can start with our thumb and index, or we can alternate these fingers, whatever works for you. Alternating is fine. But in this case here, if I play these notes with my fingers, it sounds like this. Now, just so you can see my pick, just for the challenging part at the end here, this is what my hand looks like. Definitely a big stretcher at the end, right? It really gets your hand moving. But this will really help your ability to pick individual strings, to string skip, do all that kind of stuff. So if you look at this exercise again, like I said, we're working on drone tones here. So that note ringing in the bottom end of what we're playing. We're also looking at the E Phrygian scale. So we get the sound of the E Phrygian. So that cool minor, really dark sounding scale. But we also work on string skipping, okay? So the ability to actually pick multiple strings that are farther apart from each other than just adjacent to each other. So we're going from string 6 to string 4, string 6 to string 3. And so all those skills will come in handy, whether you're playing single note riffs, whether you're doing arpeggios, if you're picking chords within a song, that'll all help out. It'll just build your picking hand, okay? So it'll build that, we'll say the strength, but also the stretching ability of your picking hand. So have fun with this. If you have any questions, let me know below. If you like this, please subscribe. More videos like this coming your way each week. And I'd love to hear your comments, like I said. So feel free to reach out, and I'll see you soon.